Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So thank you for being on today's webinar. So I can see quite a few of you in the attendees list, so thank you for joining. So before we start off, let me just give a brief introduction of myself. My name is Infosystems, and I work as a business analyst and a consultant at Cloud9 Infosystems. My primary focus here is the project management and business analysis. And I think we can start off now. So I can still see a few people joining. So let's just wait for a minute. Okay, gotcha, Monica. So I think we can get started. So so before I start, can you guys just message if you're able to hear me, or are there challenges hearing me? Okay, thanks, Doug. So now I can start off with the presentation. So the scope for today's presentation would be around these 4 points. The first would be the categories of open source technology. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Then we'll dive deep into IaaS for being on today's webinar as an open source, and then can see quite a few of you. So the way I'm thinking we can do this is that thank you for joining. I'll go through the demos. So before we start off, let me just give a brief introduction of myself at the end of the presentation. My name is Infosystems, and I work as a business analyst and a consultant at Cloud9 Infosystems. So my primary focus is start off with this topic. The first question which comes to mind is Microsoft serious? And I can tell you, they're serious. The main reason for that is cloud platforms, they sell cycles, they still see a few people joining, they sell bandwidth. They wouldn't care about the platform, they wouldn't care about the software which you're using. So think of it, think of it if you have something like MySQL, for example. So Microsoft would be worried because when they have a home before I start, can you guys just message if you're able to hear me, or are there challenges hearing MySQL on their cloud platform? So the obvious reason is because of this, what I've mentioned on the slide, that they sell cycles, storage, and bandwidth. You pay for the VMs. You pay for VMs per hour. So you pay as per your utilization. So okay, thanks, Doug. Well, yeah, there is no reason. So now I can start off for Microsoft to not invest. So the scope for today's presentation is that let me move around these 2 categories. The first would be the category of open source technology. The first one is dive deep into IaaS, and the second one is data, PaaS and open source, and then compute aspect encompasses the aforementioned points, that is IaaS, PaaS, and mobile services. If there are any questions, and the data aspect consists of Hadoop and NoSQL, so basically the open source database technology. Go to the next slide. For the scope of this presentation, we will be focusing mainly on compute. Start off with this topic. The first question which comes to the mind is Microsoft serious? Because we have 2 time boxes, and I can tell you, they're serious. It would be quite a reason for that is cloud platform, they sell cycles. So for today's webinar, I will bandwidth it to IaaS. They wouldn't care about the platform, they wouldn't care about the software which you're using. So IaaS, think of it, if you have something like MySQL cloud computing that Microsoft will worry because resources. So when they have something, when they have an option like VMs on demand, why the hell would they want to invest? Simply go to the portal, MySQL on the cloud platform, choose the type of VM which you want. The obvious reason after a few clicks, because of this, you have on the slide a VM of different cycles, storage, and you have more control for the VM with more control for VMs per hour. So as you can see from the diagram, for your utilization, you manage the applications, the data, runtime. There is no reason for Microsoft to not in the virtualization server, storage, and networking. With that, let me move on to the 2 categories. So with IaaS technology, you are responsible for administration, the first one is management, and the second one is data. So let me move on to the compute aspect encompasses the aforementioned points, that is IaaS. So with IaaS, there are two major sources and the data aspect. One is from the Hadoop and basically the open source database. So the gallery consists of, for the scope of this presentation, we will be focusing mainly on compute of Windows Server images provided by Microsoft, as well as the Linux images, because we are provided time boxes to 30 minutes by the partner. It would be quite a challenge. In addition to that, we also have something called as the VM depot. So with today's webinar, I'll just limit you have VMs provided by the community. Move on to the next slide. Now, the main difference between the VSDs from the Gallery infrastructure as a service is a form of cloud computing that provides virtualized computing resources for the internet. So with IaaS, you get an on demand, and you have the most control. The OS is you can simply go to the portal, you have choose the VM which you want, and that is because you click between you have a VM up and running. So as IaaS, this is just the have more control. However, so it's more control comes more responsibility. From the open source side, the gallery from the diagram standpoint consisting of managing the application, the data, and the server, the middleware, the OS, while the virtualization server, storage and networking is managed by the vendor. We hooked up with Azure, and which is provided. With IaaS, basically, you are responsible for administration, management. So with that, etc. Let me go to the slide. Let me move on to the next slide. So I'm coming out so with IaaS, there are two major sources, Azure website as well as AWS. One is so table one and compares one is, and the other is the Azure. So and table two compares images provided by AWS. Now Windows Server images provided by Microsoft as well as the Linux images provided by the was to give an overview. In addition to that, we also have something called as the VM depot. Linux, with VM depot, Linux images which are you have VMs again provided by the community. You can see that the Linux now the main difference between costs around 1/3 less. The VSDs from the gallery. So see for K1 from Azure, it costs $0.06 an hour, as opposed to the $0.09 an hour for Windows Server. OS is from the VM. And the main reason might have for this is Sugar CRM. The main reason for having low cost on the Linux instances is because Microsoft typically echo Amazon as I mentioned, which is the definition of the and because Amazon gallery less on Linux from the open source and the gallery from the open source standpoint consisting of Windows and by partner Windows and Windows Server out of Amazon, we can see a pretty straightforward managed trend when it comes to pricing, which can be in the with Azure and which is provided. So with that, let me quickly go to the Azure portal to just give that demo of the IaaS marketplace. Go to the price. Let me just pull open the portal. I'm coming out the costing from the Azure website as well as AWS. So table one, this is the compare Microsoft Azure portal, and table two. So if you want to compare the options that you have for IaaS. Now, this is by no means an apples to apples comparison. The main reason I put this here was to give you an overview that when you compare the price, type of images, Linux images which are open source, you can again filter. You can see that the Linux and filter out the type of images you're looking for. Now, if you just want Linux based, so see for A1 from Azure, it costs $0.06 an hour. This filters these things as opposed to $0.09 an hour for Windows Server. Will filter out. And the main reason based on this is based on the search criteria. The main reason for having low cost on Linux instances is because if Microsoft typically an instance to Amazon with regards to pricing. Like when you use Amazon, image charges less to create instance and follow the standard processes. They charge you to Windows and to set up any Windows price the element out of Amazon. If you look at it, we can see a pretty straightforward trend when it comes to pricing of these two instances, the presentation types of instances. So with that, let me quickly go to moving on Azure portal. We just mentioned on the IaaS marketplace. So Puppet is a configuration management tool which can be used to automate deployments. So if you're a server manager, for example, you have a host of servers which you want to manage. So if there are any red flags on one server, then you have to, if you want to see the options which you have each of the IaaS individually. what Puppet does is plus sign. It has a master and their relationship with the machine. So to see all, you have a VM called as the Puppet master, and there you see along with Puppet master there are other images which called as modes. And what you do is define a set of configurations on your Puppet master and filter out the type of images you're looking for. So if you just want to space, for example, if you want, then that's your basic example. If you want a file, for example, to be pushed across to all your database or nodes as they call it in the Puppet environment, filter out the images from the Puppet master based on your, you just define it in the Puppet master and push it here. And so it gets pushed. So it is if you want to spin up an instance, you just so this is like this diagram of the architecture. So the Puppet console is the follow the standard process from the Puppet master, which you would do, and to set up any Puppet agents. And pretty straightforward. It can be used to automate tasks on the Windows VM. Let me go back to that, and this is just a snapshot of the Puppet console. So, before moving on, I wanted to briefly mention about Puppet. So, in fact, Puppet is a configuration cloud provider management tool which hardware and software tools to automate deployment, usually those needed for application development. You're a server manager, for example, like I have, you don't have most of servers which you want to manage. In fact, if there are any red flags on one server, then you have to. You typically have each of those server images on what Puppet does deploy a website. It has a master and their relationship with the machine. So let me you have a VM called as the Puppet master. That standpoint, along with Puppet master, there are other images. One is called as mode, web gallery. And what you do is, and one is define a set of configurations on your Puppet master on supported platform and push them onto your. You want to for example, in a point from the web gallery, as is your basic example, if you want a file, for example, to say you want to spin up all your slaves is based on nodes as they call it in my Puppet technology stack from the Puppet master. If you want to just define it in the Puppet master and Wikipedia, and which is again based out of pretty handy tool of the PHP and MySQL technology stack. This is the diagram also of the architecture. So Puppet console is let me just go to the portal Puppet and try spinning up an Azure website. It can be used to automate tasks on the Windows VMs and the Linux VMs. So let me just go to this. So with that, and this is just a snapshot of the click on Puppet console. Go to web and mobile. So with that, we can move on to BAS. So in BAS, a cloud provider delivers the hardware and software tools. Usually those needed for application development for each one users of the service. And unlike IaaS, you don't have much control over, so it will prompt you to enter the app name. So for this purpose, so you typically have Windows Server images on which you deploy a website and take it forward from there. So let me move on to the next slide. So from that standpoint, we have two open source options. One is from the web gallery US, and one is if you want to develop a custom web app from supported platforms. Fine for now. So if you want to just click on create, spin up something from the web gallery, you have a multitude of options. Say you want to spin up a WordPress, and this will take a few minutes of PHP and MySQL technology. For the sake of this webinar, I have already created one MediaWiki, the engine behind Wikipedia. Let me just go here, which is again based out of you get to see the PHP and MySQL technology. Navigate to the URL. That is also possible. You will have the option of. Let me just go to the portal and try spinning up. Azure website. It should come up Azure web app, as they call it now, on the screen. So you just go to it first. So you can click on New, go to Web and Mobile. You will see all. I'll search for WordPress. Okay. So here it is. Like the splash screen comes. So let me just choose the language and click on create, move on with the configuration. So it will prompt me to enter the app name. So for this purpose, it won't fill these up right now, but the purpose of this demo was just to show how simple it is to spin up a WordPress site. So with that description, and we'll move back to the presentation point with the resource group 2. Service plan, I can probably have it as Central US. So apart from apart from spinning up from my web gallery, you can also work locally on your systems and develop web apps out of supported environments like PHP, Python, and Node.js. This will take a few minutes to deploy it to Azure. So for the sake of this webinar, I have already created GitHub or Bitbucket. So for the purpose of once it's created, you get to see the screen. We'll be using, once you navigate to the URL, demoing Node.js, and we'll pushing the option of pushing the app onto Azure web app. So it's taking some time, but it should come over Azure again on the screen. So just give me a minute. Okay, so here it is. Like the splash screen comes, I can build the language and then move on with the configuration. So I won't fill on trying to set up the environment right now, but just the purpose of this demo was just to show how simple it is to spin up a WordPress site. So with that, let me move back to the presentation. So apart from spinning up from the web app gallery, you can also work locally on your systems and develop web apps out of supported environments like PHP, Python, and Node.js. Okay, so I have created a folder on my automated deployment, which has a JavaScript file or the Bitbucket, and which would display the message to the world in the browser. So let me just navigate. We'll be demoing Node.js and pushing the app onto Azure web app. So, and the name of the file is server Azure.js. So just give me a minute now. When I go to, let me just pull open my browser here. So the JavaScript file has a message called as hello world displayed on it. So when I run this and I go to my local host trying to set up the environment, I can see the message hello world being displayed on the browser. So let me now try deploying this onto the Azure web app. So let me pull open my browser on the screen. Okay, so I have created a folder on my desktop which has a JavaScript file and which would display the message hello world in the browser. So let me just navigate to that folder. Any technical challenges here. And the name of the file is server.js. So now, when I go to, no, it's fine. Let me open my browser here. Go to the Azure portal. Go to plus. Click on JavaScript file has a message called as hello world displayed on it. Create a web app. So when I run this, name it and I go to my local host, I can see the message hello world app being displayed on the browser. So let me now try deploying this. So I'm fine with the subscription onto the Azure web app. The service plan, I can change it to me open my browser on the screen. And with that, I can click on create. So it will take probably a couple of minutes to create. let's just wait till that is done. Sorry about that. Some technical challenges. So as you can see, the web app was successfully created. So now let me just set up the deployment source. I want to, as I mentioned, I want to use my Git repository. So I'll select it and click on OK. So that's my deployment source. Running credentials, I think I'm fine with this. I won't change much here. Okay, so now it's done. Let me go to property and pull open, go to the Azure portal, go to plus URL, click on the web and mobile. This is the create a web app. My Git URL, which I was using it as the web app, the node.js web app onto the Azure website. So I just so I'm fine with the subscription, I'm fine with that here, and then I'm pushing it, and I can change it to Central US to Azure. So let me go back here. I can click on create here. So now let me initialize a Git repository. So it will take probably a couple of minutes to create. So let's just wait till that is done. Actually, let me initialize it first. Okay, now I can add. Okay, so as you can see, the web app was successfully created. So now let me just set up the deployment source. So as I mentioned, I want to use my Git repository. So I'll select it and click on OK. You can put a message here. So that's my deployment source. Running credentials first, and then command with this. I won't change much here. So let me go to properties and pull open. Okay. So now let me URL. So this is my Git URL to my Git repository using to push the web app, the node.js web app onto the Azure website. Azure. It wasn't released it in the side here. Let me go back then. I'll try pushing it to Azure. Copy let me go back URL. Okay, here. So now let me initialize a Git repository now. Okay, so I'll copy the URL. Let me just paste it. So let me on Notepad. Actually, let me initialize it first. Okay, now I can now add it. So let me push it. Okay, so let me commit. So it will ask me for the password. Push and put a message here. This is the first commit. The push is successful. It should be successful. Okay, so let me go back to the Azure portal. So now let me push. Let me put in the URL, and as you can see, we have a web app which displays the message "Hello World" deployed on Azure. Azure. So with that, let me move back to the presentation. So let me go back to the web app. So pretty much that's based on what we wanted to copy the URL. Which compute technology would you choose? So the key considerations would be, if you want to go with IaaS, you have Linux and Windows support. You have complete control of the VM. Just paste it, but you're responsible completely for the VM's management. And as opposed to web apps, they're easiest to use. They have built-in support for many options. And it is Windows only, but if you if you want more options, so then it really takes a shift. So with that, I just wanted to show this chart. Microsoft Azure is indeed an open cloud platform. Even in this list, you can ask me for the password of these softwares are open source. So you have Linux, you have Chef, you have Puppet, you have MySQL. So the push is successful to pretty much go hand in hand. So just wanted to put this out so you all can refer. So let me go back to the Azure portal. I would like to conclude the presentation. So any questions, guys?